This worked. Yes. Okay, we did it. Yay. We're actually live in the right place. Last time I had shared to my personal Facebook, but I see it and it's happening now. Here we are. Okay, so where are we at? I'm Tanisha. This is Brian. I have our live feed here, so if anyone has questions, feel free to tag or mark in the comments, and we can address them live in this. Each month, the first week of the month, we go over the real estate market in general. There's different categories that we're talking about, and for this month, we're talking about renting versus owning, which one makes the most sense. I'm here with Brian. He's with Security National. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over to you so you can share your screen. And apparently I'm in a dungeon now. I came from Hawaii to
a dungeon.
It's a blank canvas of opportunity. And if you're following me on my personal Facebook or Instagram, I'm going to be doing like a whole office overhaul soon. So I'm really excited about it. And you can watch the magic happen.
Can't wait for that. I think, are you allowing me to share screen? Allow me, oh, here we go. I am sharing screen. Okay, maybe, share, yes. Did it work?
Things are happening. Yeah, we're there.
Okay, I can't really see what I'm
showing. I don't know how Megan did this before. I have like our live screen going over here and we keep moving and it's very distracting. Gotta like figure out how to multitask better for the future. It's good practice.
Yeah, you need to need another arm or something.
It's cool.
In my case, I need another brain is what I need. That would help.
Done. All right, tell us what we're looking at.
Well, what we're going to talk about a little bit today is renting versus owning a home. And a lot, we deal with this a lot, right? Tanisha, we know both markets are tight right now. But it really comes down to dollars. And a lot of people think in terms of just what is my monthly rent going to be versus what would my monthly mortgage payment be? And that's, of course, obviously a consideration, but we need to look beyond that and say, okay, well, what's going to happen if I decide to rent for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? Versus just going ahead and buying now, or maybe 6 months or whatever, and then really running and comparing the two together. And so we're going to talk about a couple of things. Obviously is the monthly outflow, your cash flow that you pay every month. But we're also going to look at some other things that a lot of people don't think about. And if they do, it's kind of hard to calculate. So we have a tool. I would like to say I wrote this big program, but it wasn't me. But it really goes down deeper and analyzes exactly what happens on these. When looking at choice A and choice B, buying versus renting. So let's take a look at this example. So this one, we went on one of the renting websites, what Rentler, I guess it is, and we looked at townhomes and homes in Bluffdale. Let's use Bluffdale, Utah as an example, which is a kind of a cool place to be, right? There are a lot of good people that live there.
Some incredible people that live there.
Unbelievable humans live there. So I know of one, but anyway, not 2, 4, maybe.
4.
Okay, so anyway, here's what I figured. I just looked quickly down the list of available rentals, and 1950 seemed, see right here, 1950 seemed reasonable. It's kind of a reasonable amount of rent. There's some that are more, a few that are fewer, but that's kind of, let's say that's a fair rent for I think it was a townhome actually in this case.
Sure.
So question then is, what's a comparable, roughly a comparable purchase price of a home for that, roughly that payment? And I'll show you where I came up with that number in a second. So the buying comparable sales price will be about $422,189, rounding up to the 9. So just for about $422,000 or so would get you roughly a house at comparable rent at that rent level.
And I want to point out that if someone is renting right now and their budget isn't that, all of these numbers are customizable. So if you're thinking, okay, well, my rent's higher or lower, what does that look like for me? We can plug in and get this unique complete spread and analysis for you, and also your target area. So just something to keep in mind.
Right. And one nice thing about the target area is that we in the system here, we know what the average rental increases are. just by there's some economic data that we have in there. So that's what we're using here. So here's kind of what this is Bluffdale. And if you bought a home for 422, 189, very common sales price. I don't know why. Then here's kind of what it would look like. So here's this fictional house in Bluffdale. The rent was $1950, and we figured that you're going to also pay renter's insurance, or basically essentially homeowner's insurance. So that protects your possessions and any damage that you might do to the rental. If you decide to have a barbecue inside your kitchen, generally not a good idea. I guess you could pull it off. So let's say your real rent is about $1985. So taking this house, and what I've used is a minimal down payment. I've used a 3% down payment calculation. Again, we'll customize this for you depending on how much money you have or don't have available, and we can kind of fiddle with it that way. But I just use kind of a general 3% down scenario.
Yeah. And on that note too, just so those who are listening who are like, I'm never going to be able to buy a house. Oh, my assistant's here. And we have bracelets.
Excellent.
If you're thinking, hey, I don't have 3%, that's kind of too far reach. There are first-time home buying programs where you can put 0 down. So there's options on all forms or all fronts.
Correct. And by the way, there are some grant programs available depending on in different cities, and it will. Your assistant. Hey, they're keeping you sharp. Hey, kids. When I said there's 4 great humans that live in Bluffdale, there are 3 of them right there, I think. Anyway, we will continue. So, but yeah, and anyway, so the idea is it's very customizable. And again, the grant thing, I forgot the grant thing. So every year, different cities, most cities in Utah have these grant programs, and they get refunded different types of the year, but it's usually near the end of summer, in the fall is when they get reallocated funds, sometimes throughout the year, but some cities get them in October, September sometimes. So we're kind of coming up on where they get refunded and they have the money again. So we utilize those grant programs whenever possible, and they're pretty restrictive, but I'll tell you, when they work great. Okay. They're really helpful.
I think like the main takeaway too is there's options. There's not always just like one path that you have to go down. Yeah. And even with kind of what your rent is, this is kind of a side note as well, just kind of highlighting Brian here. If you're looking to just get a general idea, we can do this full picture depending on, yes, maybe you can afford this, but what your affordability is. That's also a video we'll do later in the future of how much of your income can be counted towards your mortgage, different things of that nature. So just know that there's not one path. There are options. There's no cost for you to be able to get a picture. If home buying is something that can be a part of your story, great. If it's not, that's okay too. We still want to talk with you. We still want to help you. So all of this is just kind of like a hypothetical of Marianne that we're making up, but all of this can be tailored to what your situation is.
Right, and that's right, exactly right. So let's start out with this. So when we believe, in fact, statistically, rents go up in Bluffdale. This is like essentially South Salt Lake County. They go up at about 5% a year.
Traditionally.
Yeah. Now, you can argue it's higher. I mean, I was talking to a client the other day, and their rent just went from 16 to 1750, which is what, 10%? I guess 10, little 9.5%, 9%. So so I think those are the anecdotal things we're hearing, but statistically, that's kind of what we're going. We'll just go with 5%, and that's being pretty conservative. So here's what your rent would do if you start out at 1985, again, including your insurance, your renter's insurance. So you see year after year, it goes up and up and up. This is just a 5% straight increase of rent.
Perfect.
I think that's pretty reasonable, probably a little low maybe, for at least right now.
I feel like too, it's like if we can paint kind of the worst case scenario of like on a rainy day or being conservative, this is what it looks like. Yes, there's always variables that are going to come into play every single year. I mean, in the market we're in right now, it's changing on a monthly basis. But if we can make consensus over kind of looking at the long spread, saying, okay, this is where it makes the most sense for me on the worst case scenario. And that way, if everything goes to crap, you're still being able to reach that goal.
Right. Exactly right. So in this, based on this same graph right here, where you can see I'm kind of highlighting it. This is your rent. This is your rent payment here, and it kind of steadily goes up. And this is your mortgage payment. And one thing we know about mortgage payments is they don't change on these fixed rate loans we're doing nowadays. The only thing that can change in your homeowner's insurance or your home payment, your house payment, are your property taxes and maybe your homeowner's insurance. And that's pretty nominal. That is calculated in here, but it's not very much. It really doesn't amount to much. So, but it is calculated in there. So what the first thing we look at is, gosh, what is this going to cost me per month? You say, well, gosh, if I buy a house, my payment's higher, right? And that is true for the first couple of years. And then it starts to equalize out. And then of course your rent takes off from there. That's just that's the first part of this picture we're going to look at. The second thing we want to look at here is what we call the appreciation gain. Now, so when you're renting a house, it's been said that either you're paying your mortgage payment or you're paying someone else's. So when you're renting, you're giving money to the homeowner, the landlord, and they're paying their mortgage, or if they don't have one, whatever, right? So you're paying their mortgage for them. So you're missing out on all that appreciation. So what is appreciation? That's the value of a home's increase. So it goes up in value over time or down in value, whatever it does. Now, obviously, over the last few years, Tanisha can attest to this. Appreciation has been pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. So this number is kind of, I show this number here, or my appreciation number here. Yeah, here it is right here. You can kind of see it. I'll make it bigger. So the 4.85, that's our forecasted appreciation rate. Ha ha, that's pretty funny, right? Well, with over the, like I said, it's month to month. That's kind of I won't say a monthly rate gain, but it's pretty conservative, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Higher,
I have a friend I reached out to yesterday. They have an Airbnb out in St. George, and I'm like, hey, my husband and I are thinking about doing a vacation rental over there. And she's like, yeah, we bought ours, a year or so ago for 100 and something. And we're looking at them today and they're like 300. And I'm like, okay, cool. It just tripled within 2 years. Like,
yeah. And you say, well, that's an anecdotal. Well, not really. That's pretty common. What we're doing a lot from the lending side is we have folks who put 3 or 5% or even 0%. In fact, I just did one the other day where they put 0% down on their home a year ago. And now we're refinancing it at 80% of the value.
Oh yeah, I have buyers that I helped 6 months ago that had PMI on their loan that are saying, hey, can we get this off now? I think we're close to that 20% equity mark. And I'm like, I think you're right. And if we're not there, let's wait 2 or 3 months and maybe we'll be there then, because it really is changing at a record pace right now. But again, kind of going to that rainy day, worst case scenario, this is very conservative. But I think it's evident that if your goal is to own a home at some point, there is going to be a part where you're going to be upside down. That may be inevitable, right? If we can meet apples to apples, awesome, let's do it. But on the long-term goal, regardless of what the market's doing, in general trends, things are going to keep going up. So with that spread, the earlier you're going to be able to get started, the better it's going to be. If you're thinking, you know what, I don't know if I ever do want to own a home. Maybe I'm comfortable renting. Then you kind of know, okay, in the next 5 years or so, I'm going to be upside down anyways. Maybe I'm comfortable here. I will say with Utah specifically, our rental rates and our appreciation rates are both increasing at exponential rates. So as far as getting in now, I would say, if it's within your financial makeup to be able to qualify, and that is a goal for you, you're in a really good spot. Renting, we don't know what it's going to look like next month, 6 months, next year. So just kind of, we're here to kind of weigh all of the pros and cons. So that way, by the end of it, we have enough items in each column to be able to say, okay, this is what makes the most sense for me. This is what I want to do moving forward.
Yeah. And when Tanisha is talking about weighing pros and cons, I mean, pros and cons are kind of these abstract concepts a lot of times. So what this report allows us to do is assign numbers to those concepts. So we know not exactly, but we have a good reasonable pro and con to weigh to actually measure. So here's something, and so we continue on with these measures, right? So there's your payment. That's the simple one, right? This is what we think the payments will do on your mortgage versus rent. Okay, so we go down here, and I took it out 9 years. That's kind of a typical, I'll live in this house for X years, 9 years. We're using 9 years. So first of all, the cash flow on this is just a simple cash flow. So if you take all of these rent payments for 9 years and all of these mortgage payments for 9 years, you spend about $13,442 more in rent over the next 9 years than you would making monthly mortgage payments, right?
Got it.
So that's that. The next thing is the appreciation gain. So if your home, we buy this home for $422,189, that's our sales price, right? So in 9 years, if it goes up 4.85% per year, that's just our, we're going to use that number. The value after 9 years will be $646,000, right?
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool. So that's, of course, that's $224,000 of value that you've gained, right? But that's not even, that's just part of the picture. Remember, when you're making a payment every month, you're paying your principal and your interest and your taxes and insurance. Well, principal is paying your loan down. When you're paying the principal, you're getting their loan balance down, just like a car loan, and you're paying that principal down. So over that 9-year period, if you start out with this loan amount here, 409,000 is your loan amount, your balance, if you make normal monthly payments, nothing extra, just normal monthly payments, your balance is going to be down to about 319,000. So if you add together your appreciation here, that 224, plus the 89, almost $90,000 of amortization gain, meaning you pay that loan down, here's your net gain over 9 years. It's $280,000.
When, in what scenarios are these boxes red? When do they kind of flip upside down? Because it seems like these are very big numbers. And it seems like, I mean, I would love to take advantage of these to be a part of like my retirement and investment portfolio overall. So when would this be far off? Because even if I were to cut these numbers in half, I'm thinking, you know what? That's still awesome. Take a quarter of it. We're still really great. So when is it completely upside down and we're seeing red and we're like, okay, you know,
yeah, that's a great question. You'll see red. A couple of things will cause that, or a combination of a few things. Number one, if your rent is a dramatic, quite a bit lower than this. So if rent was like, man, I can rent that same townhome in Bluffdale for $1,200, $1,000 a month, but it's going to cost me $422,000 to purchase it.
Got it.
That is going to be, well, I don't thought, well, I'll tell you, I can run it real quick here. But that's one thing. Second thing is the appreciation, our appreciation assumption. So if the house loses value, then this appreciation will turn into depreciation, right? If it loses value over time, you'll still have the amortization gain, but it would have to be pretty semi-dramatic to get in the red.
Sure. I mean, you think about any graph, right? It's going to have its peaks and valleys. As far as what causes that, it's going to be different every time. We can't predict the future. But at some point, the housing market, if it dips, it's not going to be a surprise, right? But if you zoom out and look at the big picture, it's consistently trending up. So whether those are big spikes now or big drops now, if you're able to be in a position to where you're comfortable on a financial standpoint, to be able to keep the home, to wait through those time periods, I feel like that has the potential to always have green at some point, right?
Right.
But on the flip side, if I say, hey, I've been renting this place for 15 years, I've locked in my rate, it's incredible. The housing market takes a dip. Like, can we run a scenario of, let's say someone is paying $900 a month and the housing market goes to crap over the next 5 years. I'm interested to see if we're still breaking even, or if on that worst case, there's potential. And obviously, like, I could have a black hole eat my house tomorrow. So we have no clue like what natural causes are going to happen.
A sinkhole, that's possible.
Okay. Yeah. Black hole, sinkhole, I mean.
Same thing, same difference. So tell me what rent you want to go. I can redo this real quick. So you want to use, like, maybe you pay 900?
Yeah, let's do 900.
Okay, so I leave everything, there's your red. So if you pay $900, same house, same $422,000 house, there's your red right there. So you're negative cash flow.
I still see green.
Hold on a second, let me recalculate. Whoops, let me dump this here. Wow, wait, my face is in the way. There you go.
I do that all the time. I'm like, I'm gonna take us and move us over here so I can access the top bar.
Let's see, calculate. Where's my calculate button? I'm gonna do
Okay, I'm putting you on the spot. I feel like I should have to like sing or do elevator music in between.
Elevator music would be helpful. Yes.
Yes, okay. I have something better for us though. I'm gonna look up kind of
No, it's not. I'm ready. I got it.
You ready? Okay.
Yeah, we're overthinking this. So here's the red. So you're $132,000 underwater because of the payments, because your rent's so low, right?
I don't see red. I still only see green.
Right there. See cash flow difference right here?
Your screen share is not changed.
Oh my God, what is happening? Okay, you know what? Let me do this. Watch this. Watch this trick.
I think we're looking at a PNG and you're looking at it live. Your age is showing.
Oh, it's showing. Okay, I saved it. I'm going to download it. Watch this. Watch this.
Wow.
Boom, boom. Continue. Download. Let's see if this works.
Ooh, ooh. If not, you're just gonna have to tell us.
Yes, it worked. Can you see it?
No.
Why can you not see it? Am I in the wrong? Oh, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. I'll teach you how to do
full screen. Make your PNG not full screen.
do that. What's happening?
I like want to take control of your screen. Oh, there we go. That was promising.
That's not it. That's the wrong one.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. There you are. That's what I see still.
You see this now?
Yeah.
The red. You see the red? Dude, I don't know how to switch it. Okay, hold on. Let's everyone calm down. We're gonna make it work. Let's see, screen share. Hold on. No panicking.
Ah, I see red. You did it.
Yes, we see red. We've done it.
Okay.
It's a little weird, but okay. So here's what we've got. So I've changed it to $900 in rent.
Yes.
So you're underwater in terms of monthly cash flow over 9 years. There's your red. But you notice we're doing the same house, the same $422,000 house.
Okay.
You still have the same appreciation, and you still have the same amortization gain by making this mortgage payment appear, right?
Okay.
You with me?
Yeah.
So the overall gain is reduced by $150,000 or so to 134. So you're still in the.
So break down this bottom part because we haven't talked about that.
Okay.
As a whole.
So what this means is this is the net gain in terms of cash, just in your in value of home going up in this case. It takes into account all the rent and everything. So for the first 2 years, you're underwater.
Okay.
Why? Because your rent is so much lower, and then you have closing costs and down payment and all that in your house, right?
Yeah.
Second year, it's pretty close. You're still underwater though. Year 3, you start making.
Say that 2,900 was like the closing costs and.
Yeah, it's all here in the first year.
Okay, but what's rolling over to staying the difference? Is that just the difference in cash payment at this point?
No, it's all of it combined. So it's the fact that your house has gained value a little bit. You've paid your loan down a little bit, and then it nets it out with the difference in payment. So that's all just in there. And then the third year you're up, and fourth year, fifth year, and so forth.
Okay.
And that's just that
so
9.
In other words, your house has to get eaten by a black hole or sinkhole. Okay, actually that would deal within other factors, but in general, multiple areas would have to be affected in order for this to shift dramatically to where we have all areas in red. But in general, in my opinion, I feel like if you're experiencing red in all 4 categories or 3 categories, the world is at a place where homeownership may not be the highest priority or thought of what is going on in the world.
Right.
If that's happening.
Yeah. And we're buying a lot of times renting has its advantages for sure.
Absolutely.
The main one, I think one of the main decisions is how long you're going to be in the house. So if you're saying, hey, I got $950 rent, or I can buy this house and I'm going to leave in 2 years. Well, that's not a good idea, obviously. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it really does come down to, especially in this example, is what can you rent for?
Sure.
And it's hard, and it's hard because if you're willing to live in a basement bedroom, 1 bedroom, house, in a basement, somebody's house for cheap, great. Then you may not be in the market to buy a house anyway.
Sure.
But I'll tell you, statistically, the home ownership over the long term beats out rent. It just does.
Yeah. It kind of makes it a clear picture in the sense of if you have the time and you want to be there, and I would even argue if life changes and you need to move out of state, you can always keep that as an asset, rent it out. Having like an annual rental agreement on that home is going to offset your debt to income ratio to be able to allow you to afford in other places. If you want to keep the property, if you sell it, you still have the appreciation gain. And so you're still going to come out on top on that front as long as the market keeps increasing. So in general, if home ownership is a priority or a goal of someday of a dream that you want to be able to do, it seems like in all scenarios that after that 3 to 5 year mark, it's going to be worth the investment. And as far as what the path looks like to get there, you have resources, you have us in your corner to be able to help you navigate that and figure it out. Whether that's you're buying a home in 3 months or 6 years, we are happy to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, and like it's really great when we customize these reports, because like we're just kind of playing with numbers, but we've actually taken actual houses and say, hey, we're making an offer on this house in Harriman. What does it look like on this thing? And we do that all the time. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's really important, especially when you're looking to buy, to know the answers and potential forecasts of each home, because every home has a different payment. It may have an HOA, it may not. There's so many different factors that go into it. Some areas have higher property taxes. So kind of having a clear picture, I think like is very valuable. And in general, like I said, we do these every quarter. So our red versus zone, you would think it's the same, but literally every time we do this analysis, it changes. And the outcome in general, as far as having that asset, is the same. But as far as the timeline and how that looks and the journey to get there, that's changing. So next month we're going to be meeting again. We're going over the cost of waiting. So what that is if you're not sure right now, you have time to think about it, but how much time, what does that look like in the close near future, is in the next couple of months to the next couple of years, what is it going to cost you to wait to get into that home? So that's what we'll be talking about then. Brian, is there anything else you want to talk about?
That's it. It covers it.
Okay, I want you to give us your number again, because I know we've had a couple of people reach out after, and so if you're watching, grab a pen, and Brian will give you the best way to get in contact with him to start running these numbers.
Yeah, I'll give you my cell number. That's easiest. That seems. Our other number is a little angry at the moment. So it's 435-862-9000. Pretty easy.
Say it again.
435.
Okay.
862-9000.
Got it. Awesome. Brian, you're incredible. I'm sure.
Oh, you are. You are.
Today. Thank you much.
All right, guys. Sounds good. See you, everybody.
Okay, we'll see you next week, next month.
Next month, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.